Okay, we have a 2006 Suzuki Forenza. It's got a 2.0 liter engine in it. Little history on the car. The car was purchased with 50,000 miles thereabout on the odometer. The timing belt was replaced at the dealership, and here at 90,000 miles the timing belt has broke, and so there's 40,000 miles on the belt. So I figured that this would be a good project to take a look at and see what's going on. It's possibly that it's bit some valves, so we'll get to that issue. If that's what it is, and we'll just go ahead and pull ahead and take it on from there. One of the first things to do is to remove the negative cable from the battery. Above on the driver's side, and as you can see, there goes a little doggy, and as you can see, it's jacked up, it's on the jack stands. Moving over to the other side of the car, you can see that the, give you a little bit of light, you can see that the this wheel has been taken off, and what we're going to do, the first step is we're going to take this here splash shield off. We have a 10mm bolt head right here, and we have a fastener right here. It's got a Phillips head. And underneath the car, there's one right there, and then there's one down here. First thing is going to move this bolt here. As I said, it's got a 10mm head on it. Now we're going to remove this one here. This has got a Phillips. This is what it looks like at the front end of the engine after we've removed the splash shield. And you can see the oil filter there on the left. You can see the crankshaft pulley and the belt. Next step, we're going to remove the air box here. And what I'm going to do, looks like, and let me just pass this right across here. We're going to remove this here hose clamp, and we're going to remove the hose clamp screw down here. We're going to loosen it up. So you can see it down there. Maybe if I can zoom in a little bit, and you can see there's a hose clamp for the throttle body, so we're going to loosen that up. We're also coming back over here, gonna loosen this up, and we're gonna take these here other bolts off, loosen them up. These right here, you can see two of them right there. Okay. One other thing we want to mention is that we're going to remove the connector off of the incoming air temperature sensor. And to do that, you can just take this here wire bail, and as you can see, I'm pushing it down. Push it down, and while you hold it down, just push it straight back. And once you remove, loosen up the 4 Phillips screws. You can see there's one is right here. Coming down here, there's another one. Coming on the back side, there is one right here, and right over here on the other corner, right down there. Okay, now once you do that, then you can just lift the cleaner top off. Here's the air filter. Just take it and lift it out of there. Yeah, see what you can get. Yep, a little bit dirty. Okay, once we get the top off and we get the filter out, now we're going to remove this here base for the air cleaner assembly. We got a 10mm head right here, and over on the other side, down at the bottom, you can see it way down there on the bracket down there. That one right there, that's going to be a 12mm head. Just as a note, when this filter was taken out, this is the top view of it. And if I turn it and look at the side, you see that it's deeper on the bottom, and if you look there, it's dirty under the bottom, so that's going down. This is here. This right over here is that assembly that was just taken out for the bottom as far as the cleaner. It's got the duct over here is on the right, the inlet, and so there you go. You can see this is what it looks like now after the airbox is out of the way. We can see the engine mount, which we're going to have to take that out. And also, if you look down there, you can see there's a rag that I put in the duct just keep some stuff from accidentally falling in there. And also, if you look over there on the throttle body, you can see that there's a rag tucked in there to keep some stuff out. On the next step, I think what we'll do is we'll remove the serpentine belt, the tensioner, right there. So it's probably a little hard to see. Maybe I'll get in there a little bit. Maybe a little more light. Since it was a little bit hard to see probably in the video how the serpentine belt was routed, I went ahead and drew up a little diagram. And if you look over there on the left top, you can see the alternator. So the belt's coming across the top of that pulley. It's going over to the right, goes over the top of the power steering pulley, goes down, goes under the bottom of the air compressor pulley, goes over to the crankshaft pulley, wraps around on its left side, then it goes up towards the tensioner, goes around counterclockwise, and then completes its path back up to the alternator. I'll give you a shot up here at the tensioner. I'm going to loosen it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn clockwise, and as you can see, while we got it down, we'll just slip the belt right off. As you can see now, the belt's off. And by the way, that was a 15 millimeter hex head for that. Well, let's see if we can just slide this belt right up out of there. Now, I do believe that we can probably just let it drop right on down. There it goes. Okay, we're going to remove this here engine mount. There's a jack that's underneath supporting the engine. I got a piece of plywood sitting on a transmission jack. We got these 4 bolts here, mounting bolts. They got 14 millimeter heads on them. We're also going to remove these 2 nuts here, and this here 1 bolt, which also all of these have a 14 millimeter also. Okay, before we take the engine mount off, we want to support the bottom of the engine. So since I got a piece of plywood here, it's already bolted onto my transmission jack. I'm just using that for right now. Alright, once you get all the fasteners out, then it's just a matter of just lifting it straight up. Okay, the next step is this power steering line is right over top of where the cover is, timing belt cover. And what we want to do here is I'm going to remove this here fastener off of this here bracket, holds this bracket down, and that way we can kind of move this thing back out of the way. Here on the timing belt cover, looks like we have, let's get a little light, we have, looks like it's a 10 millimeter fastener head right here, and there's one, if you can see it, right down there. And then there's another one, if I can see it, is right there. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see the recess area. So all of those should be 10 millimeters, so we'll take those off. All right, here's the 2 bolts that came out from the timing belt cover. And you be careful because these washers will fall right off of there. And as I mentioned, those were 10 millimeter heads on those. Also, this cover right here just fits right in there like so. Slides down. And this here bolt, it's no washer, just like you see it there, 10mm head. And this one here has got some Loctite on it, so it was pretty snug. So just be aware of that. Okay. Okay, now that the fasteners are out, we have these metal clips here, and looks like there's one here, there's one right here, and to release it, you just lift back on this here spring clip, and there's another one over here on this side. It's probably hard to see, but it's right there. And from what I can see, it's just only those three. Okay, after you get the three clips, and that's how many it was three, one in the middle, one right over here on each side. Just spring those back. And then once you do that, at the very, very bottom on the lower left where the fastener was at, down here to hold the timing belt cover, let me just carry you right under there and I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you look right there, you see the steel posts. Well, in the timing belt cover there's a rubber grommet, just like it is on the other side. That one was actually got free, but I had to come under here and pull the cover straight out so the rubber grommet would slide off of this here boss. So once I did that, it looks like everything should pull out. Now it's just a matter of just lifting it straight on out of there. Well, as you can see, timing belt here is broke. Yep, you can see it hanging down there. See? So let's just go ahead and pull it on out. The other end, let's take a look at it. Let's look at both of them at the same time. Yeah, that looks pretty bad. But now, as far as the serrations on the belt there, I mean, it looks pretty good. I don't see any cracking. Just go down and kind of look at it. From what I can see, it all looks pretty good, except for that, where it tore into. And here we can see the crankshaft pulley, and as you can see, there's a bolt in the center. It's got a 17mm head for the socket, and there's four 6mm Allen bolts. And also, you can also see right here, I put a little bit of white paint here, and you can see there's a little bit right there, so just so they can line up. I just want to be sure that when I take this crankshaft pulley off, that I'm going to put it back exactly like how it came off, or how it was on. Now, to get these here, what you want to do is you want to remove these four Allen bolts here, and what I did is I took a 17mm, I'm going to take a 17mm socket, and that's right here, and I've already got these broke loose, and so I just put that on a pull handle 17mm socket, got a little short extension on there, and that will go right onto the bolt. Then we come back, and I got another pull handle. It's got a 3/8 drive. This is a 6mm Allen bolt wrench here, and that will go in there into the Allen bolt. So what you want to do is you want to hold this in place and then break each one, and then to get to the next one, what you want to do is you want to turn the crankshaft, pulley clockwise, and so you can get to the next one. Okay, I've already taken the four 6mm head bolts out. It's just a matter, it's not a press fit anything, you just slip it right off of there. Now, as you can see right now, might be a little bit hard to see, but right here on the very bottom, you can see there's a little cutout. And if you look on the crankshaft hub here, this hub right there, you can see there's a little white piece of tape. There's a little slight notch there. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you want to turn the crankshaft and you want to line it up with this here little cutout that's right down here on the bottom. I know it's probably a little bit hard to see, but that's where you want to be at. And I'm off just a tad, so I'll go ahead and I'll get that adjusted. Okay, as you can see, it is in alignment right now. And when you're turning the crankshaft hub clockwise, and in this case the belt's broken, so you want to be very sure that when you're turning it you don't feel anything as far as an obstruction. You don't want to keep turning it because you remember the valves up here going to be in the wrong position. So you want to just make sure that you're not going to hit anything. In this case here, it turned very freely, so there was no issue there. Okay, this is a view of the two camshaft sprockets. And this one right over here on the right is for the exhaust. And it's actually got it wrote right on there, but one way you could tell is that this exhaust, this here camshaft is over here next to the exhaust manifold. And if you look over here, this is the intake, and this over here next to the throttle body, which is the intake side. Now, looking at the timing marks, we'll look at the one for the exhaust side. You can see there's a mark right here. You can see it pretty good right there. This actually has a little triangle here, and there's a little serration, and there's a little bit of white paint that's on there. That mark right there will get lined up with this mark, this here triangle mark that's up here on the back of this here flange that the timing belt cover rests up against. Now if we go over to the other side, we can see that the mark for the intake camshaft sprocket is right here. Just to give you a relationship of where we're at, and if I kind of come out a little bit, you can see it's probably about 90 degrees off. So, and here's the mark for the intake side, and that's what it looks like. So our next step, what I'm thinking about doing, is I've already got a belt. So I'm going to get these camshaft sprockets back in time. Crankshaft sprocket is already in time. So I'm going to get this here routed. And what I'm going to do is, we'll talk about this here. There's an idler right here. And if you look, the idler, coming down a little bit. If you look at the idler, you can see back here there's no flange. It's smooth back here on the back. But up here on the front side, there's a little lip. Right there. There's a lip. And it also has a nut. Now if I go over to the right hand side and look down there, we can see that we have a idler over here, and it's smooth up here on the front, and then on the back side we actually have, if you look right there, you can see that there's a flange on the back. And going back and looking at the other one, you can see the difference. And also one other difference on this one right here is the one on the left actually has a nut. This one right here actually has a bolt. And we're going to replace these two idlers. But you can hear it does have a little bit of side play in the bearing. So even though that wouldn't cause this here problem with the belt breaking, the bearings is definitely going bad on it. So this will be replaced along with this one over here. And this one has a little bit, but not as much as the one on the left, as far as side to side play. Also, looking down here, looking right over here on the left side, right up underneath this here idler, there's a sprocket right here. This right here is for the water pump. Now the water pump feels pretty good. Don't feel any side play in it. But again, since we're already here, we're going to go ahead and replace that also, replace the water pump. Another thing, the last thing in here, is the tensioner. Now the tensioner is right here. It's this silver item, so I'm going to get my hand out of there. It's that silver item right there, and side to side, the bearing feels good, but again, we're going to replace that also, and then we'll go through the setup procedure of how to adjust that.